Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to talk about TurboTenant. I spend all day, every day talking about the platform and super excited to show off some of the unique tools that we have to offer.
This is fantastic. So, with TurboTenant, I've known about TurboTenant for a while. Definitely use them myself. Been utilizing the platform, seeing the platform, and just it's really great. So I'm really excited to have everybody be able to walk through it to understand it. Well, let's just not take any more time. But Kevin, I want you to go ahead and start walking through the TurboTenant, and then we're going to have time for questions at the end. So for everybody, when you have questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. Post your questions in the comments so everybody can see the questions. I'm going to see the questions. And at the very end, we're going to have answers. Right? Kevin's going to be able to answer those questions. So definitely post all your questions inside of the chat. And one other thing, we have a huge bonus for everybody joining us, and we'll talk about the bonus at the very end, so you can basically get a great bonus for being here and take part in with TurboTenant. So remember, put all your questions inside the chat, and we'll let Kevin go right ahead. All right, Kevin, you're up.
Sounds good. All right. So everybody should be able to see my screen now. So with TurboTenant, I do want to just throw out there that I do not have provide any legal or tax advice, but otherwise I give you some kind of tips and tricks along the way. With TurboTenant, we've been around since 2019, so we just celebrated 9 years of supporting landlords across the country. We've got 60, which I think that stat's a little outdated. I think we're at 70-ish team members now, with about 600 plus thousand landlords, with over $1 billion in rent revenue that has been moved through the TurboTenant platform, and about 2+ million renters. And our offices are in Colorado. So my office is located in Fort Collins, and our marketing team is located in Denver. Here's a fun little team photo that we took last year to show that we are real and we really do, we're not just AI. All right, so I'm going to just jump, well, I'm going to jump actually into the landlord portal demo. Something just to keep in mind is that you can use our site on a desktop computer, mobile device, or a tablet. If you're using on a mobile app, you can download the TurboTenant for Landlords app from either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And once it's downloaded, you can utilize the platform. If something's not a feature or something that's not available within our app at the moment, there will be an option to go over to our mobile website because we are still building out the mobile app, and it's getting new features each and every day. All right, jumping into the TurboTenant dashboard. So when you first log in, this is what you're going to see. It's a dashboard or a shortcut of links. You will notice that there's a few things that you can do right off the bat. Look at what properties have marketing, any leads, applicants, and tenants. You can jump right in. You can jump into payments and see what money is missing or what you've received this month. Some other things that I like to point out is that we can get into our maintenance requests, and we can also invite people to showings. So some of our newer features within maintenance and showings. Underneath the property section of the website, you'll be able to list all kinds of different properties, everything from single family homes to multifamily or renting out just rooms. So in this example here, the 321 Main Avenue, these are room rentals. And then the 123 Main Street is units. So these are multifamily or room rental situations. Depending on your situation, either one of these might be a good option. I'm going to take a look at this fun little property here that I'm pretending is a single family home with 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. This is the dashboard of the property. You'll be able to see any leads, applicants, or tenants that are coming in specifically for this property, as well as any leases. You can invite people to apply for the property, screen a tenant, and so forth, all within the property here. You can do this from multiple different places on the site, but this is just one place to, when you're specifically thinking about the property and knowing that this one's available, you can then just invite somebody to apply, fill out their first name, last name, email address, and then just click invite. What that'll do is send an email to them asking them to fill out the application and then pay for a screening report. And we'll The screening report is $55 for our free landlords and $45 for any landlord who is on our premium plan, which we'll talk more about that in a little while. Once that report is generated, it will come back to your TurboTenant account under the Applicants tab. We'll go back in and look a little bit more at the rental property for the Grand Ole Opry. You can edit any of the marketing information. So under the marketing tab, you can turn marketing on or off right here. There's also a listing page that you can send out to folks, or you can send them a pre-screener for this specific property. When we're looking at the listing page, we generate this page from all the information that is provided. So all of the photos, you'll be able to click on them and then go through each of the photos of the property. You'll also be able to see all of the write-up, address, any of the amenities and features about the property, as well as some handy things. So basic overview of the amount of rent, how much the deposit is, what when it's available, and what type of lease term you're looking for. Folks can go ahead and apply really easily by just clicking the Apply Now button. So even if they have not reached out to you, they have an opportunity to just apply, and or they can get in contact with you. And if they fill out the contact form here, we will send them our pre-screener. Now, a pre-screener will ask them 6 basic questions. So that gives you an understanding of who the tenant is and who they might be living with. I'll show you here what a pre-screener looks like in just a moment. You'll see that we've got the tenant's information, the address that they're applying for, any of their contact information, when they became a lead, if they filled out the pre-screener, if they have scheduled a showing with you, and where they became a lead from. Let me just zoom in for a second to make that a little bit bigger. And then we got some quick actions that we can take by inviting them to apply, messaging them, inviting them to a showing, marking them as contacted, or if they're no longer interested or it wasn't a right fit, you can archive that lead. If I click on Dr. Strange's name here as that applicant, as that lead, you'll be able to see the pre-screener that has been filled out. So they are looking to move in at the end of this month. There are 3 people they're living with. Their estimated income is $4,000. We've got if there's any smoking, any pets, and the estimated credit score. All of this estimated information can be verified once they go through the application process. And then if there's any additional notes from apartments.com or from them, it'll be listed down below. And from any of the showings that are set up can be done right through the tenant's profile here. If we need to, we can always edit their information or edit their pre-screening questions. So maybe they were incorrect in that they need more people to live with them, since it is a smaller rental. I mean, it's a larger rental. So we can up that number of people that they're living with. So the pre-screener is a pretty easy questionnaire, if you will, that gets you some information to decide if you would like them to fill out the application. Because once they go to the application, there's a fee involved, and we want to help you get some information before the tenants have to pay anything. Looking at the application process, you'll actually, there's a demo opportunity in any TurboTenant account up in the upper right corner here. They'll just fill out their information, put in a date of birth, that's close to my actual birthday. Maybe a few years. I'm showing a few years younger than I really am, but anyway. Excuse me. We'll select the desired move-in date, how many people they're applying with, if there's any other co-signers or tenants that they're applying with, and the number of people they're living with, any current or past addresses, the approximate rent for this, if I wanted to put that in. Perfect. I'm going to say that there's no past addresses, but I could put as many as I needed to in there. Adding current employer information. Again, this part is still unverified, but we'll get to the verified income in just a moment. We can also put in past employments. And so this is requested up to 5 years. I'm going to go ahead and skip these for now. If there's any other sources of income, so if you're working with people that are on Section 8 or Housing Choice Voucher Program or any other government assistance, they will be able to list that information here and provide how much that income is. Or maybe it's a alimony or child support or whatever that can be listed, as well as, excuse me, any banking information. This is where if they have any pet information, we're going to go ahead and ask them to fill that out. If there's any vehicles, we'll ask them to fill that information out. If there's any smoking or any other special requests, such as maybe they need an extra few days to move furniture in a day early or something. That's up to you. You could also look at, they can also put in information if there's any accessibility requests or anything like that could be added in here. We got our background information. So have they ever been convicted of a felony? Or I'm sorry, left, or if they've ever been evicted? If there's any felony information and or if anything's been like foreclosed on, bankruptcies, that sort of stuff. We'll list out the emergency contacts here. And then any additional comments and where you found the property. And these are some of the different sites that all of our listings are syndicated out to. So everything from Redfin to apartments.com, apartment list. We also have some that are for those room rentals. We do have a few. Let's see, are they listed on this one? Nope. But I'll show you what those are here in just a moment. Like spare room and others.
So Kevin asked a quick
We'll do
question. You
spare room.
said like spare room and renting out each individual room.
Mhm.
TurboTenant can handle, like if you wanted to do, you have a house and you want it to be like a co-living space, this can
Mhm.
handle that.
That is correct.
That's exciting.
And there's a couple of ways that you can handle that where you've got one lease with all of the tenants on the same lease, or you can make it a little bit easier for yourself and do 5 separate leases with the, say there's 5 tenants, 5 separate leases, and then each one's making their own rent payments. And you can easily track each one separately as kind of a more of a co-living situation. I know some folks with larger homes and larger properties want to do it this way, so it makes more sense from a tenant perspective. That if let's say I'm in a college town and one of my tenants moves out, I don't have to have all 5 sign again. I just have that one sign the one new lease. Yeah, so that was a great question. And then this is where we're going to get some verification of information. So we can upload documents such as photo ID, the proof of income. So any of those government assistance or alimony or any of those documents and paycheck stubs. And then any additional documentation that's been requested can be uploaded. Now, these can be uploaded later. So if you see something and you want more information, the tenants can always go back in and make edits to be able to add additional documentation. For now, I'll just say upload later. And that is extremely exciting. We just updated. So now we can upload photos, photos or PDFs, including the ever so popular iPhone photo format that nobody is able to upload. So that's exciting. All right. The very last thing here on the application is to go ahead and pay for the screening report. What that'll do is then take you into the questions for the screening report. So this is all of the test credit card information, and the application has been completed. Now, the next step here is that we're going to go back into the demo's all completed. The next step here is that the tenant would then fill out their security questions. So answering things like mother's maiden name, past employers, past addresses, things that are found on their credit report, so that that report will come back to you. And it'll look very similar to this, where you've got a score that covers everything from credit and like rental history, as well as criminal history, evictions, collections, public records, and those fun landlord references so that you can reach out to them and verify that they were a tenant and that they weren't leaving payments or leaving with rent that still is owed. All of this will give you the option to either move somebody in, or you can choose to not move them in. If you were to choose not to move somebody in, the system will ask if you want to send a message. Those messages are fair housing compliant. So that means that it will give you the opportunity to send them a message that's a pre-formatted from TurboTenant that just says they're not moving in. If they'd like more information, they can always reach out to the team at TurboTenant to grab a copy of their screening report. We're happy to send that over to them, as well as the information for the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So that helps keep you and us in compliance. And the information for TransUnion, our screening partner, because then if they see any discrepancies, they can reach out to to TransUnion, and they'll be able to help them with any of those discrepancies. If you're moving somebody in as a tenant, you can move them into a lease profile. And let's take a look at Tony as one of the tenants here. So within Tony's profile under tenants, you've got their overview of information for their lease, payments, account, as well as their their emergency contact. You've got their application that they filled out. And then all the way down at the bottom, if they upload any attachments, they'll be listed down here. So those are those paycheck stubs or verification of like ID and so forth. When that screening report is completed, it would be listed here. Because this is a demo account, I don't have a real screening report to view. And then the ability to send messages to and from the tenants. Again, because I'm in a test environment, I don't actually have the ability to pull that up at the moment. But let's go ahead and go back over and take a look at the most important piece of this, which is leases. So first, we basically build the site on a rental property. And then on top of that, we build the lease. So that'll be the second section of our website over here. Once somebody is in a lease, these are basically lease profiles or hubs of information. I think of them as kind of like a folder. And inside here, you'll see any documents that you've sent back and forth, including ones that are still waiting on signature, like this utility bill. You'll be able to see any tenants that are a part of this rental property. You'll see anything that has been completed or signed. And this one was signed earlier today. And then some additional documents that I uploaded and can that are viewable by the tenant. For uploading additional documentation, you can always upload, like say you have existing tenants, you can bring them into TurboTenant without screening them, without having to have them go through a new application and paying any fees, by just going in here to your lease profile and adding a new tenant. So I see the existing tenants that are here, or I can just add somebody new with their first name, last name, and email. I always recommend the email. It's most important for me because it's what they will be using to log into their account. You can also add their phone number if you would like, but I always recommend the email. All right. So with every single TurboTenant account, you have the ability to get a state-specific lease agreement as part of the free plan. They're $59 each, or you can purchase premium for $119 per year, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. But with that, you'll get access to all of our state-specific lease agreements. So whether or not your properties are in Tennessee or they're scattered across the US, they'll be specific for that area. For instance, if you're in Chicago, you'll be getting the option for an Illinois lease, a Cook County lease, or a Chicago city limits lease. So there's very specific leases for different parts of the area around Chicago. Also included in the premium is the lease addendum and the ability to send documents for electronic signature. Can all be done through the platform. This is also where in a lease profile, you'll set up those rent payments. So looking at rent payments here at the top of the screen, we'll see that I've got a monthly reoccurring rent charge that started in May and is running through May of next year for $1,000. If I were to edit, I can see that the rent charge is here. I can put in descriptions, adjust when it is due, setting up the first or last month of the lease. So maybe they want to extend another year. We can easily do that. Or if we want to move them over to month, it's really simple and easy just to select no end date. And then this charge will just continue on without any interruptions. We can also set an automatic late fee. So with that, you can set up a flat fee or a percentage based. So if you wanted to do a $20 fee or $50 fee or 20%, 10%, whatever, and then you can select how many days that you want that fee, when you want that fee to kick in. And then finally, we can save this. One other thing you can do as a premium landlord is add additional bank accounts so you can have multiple accounts. So properties that are in, say, in Tennessee or under one LLC could be all connected together so that the rent's going to that account. Others that are associated with a separate LLC or a separate, in maybe a separate state, and you want it to go to a different checking account, we can easily do that within the premium account because you can have unlimited bank accounts, unlimited entities, all with their own tax implications and everything kind of being separated and not commingled. So I'll go ahead and save this charge. You can also see the charges that have been sent out to this tenant. So it looks like there's a rent charge and a late fee for June. However, they paid for July, and I can click on this to get a little bit more information. Looks like it was a direct deposit that was paid for $1,000. And then we've got those other past due fees or past due rent and or late fees. So if they were to pay one of these, we could easily record a payment by selecting record a payment, choosing which tenant made that payment, the amount that they paid, how they paid it. So let's say they wrote me a check and they did that today. And then we can do any sort of notes or check numbers or confirmation numbers. And do you want to send a receipt? Typically, I say yes, just so that there's confirmation that you received the payment and you're confirming that with the tenant. I know some states do require that. And one of those in particular is here in Colorado. And you'll see that there's the grand total that we're recording. If for some reason they didn't pay the full amount, and let's say they paid a partial amount, you can always write that in here. So in this case, if this tenant, Tony, paid half of the rent and he was waiting for the other tenant to pay the other half, we can record that as well. So in this case, I'm showing 500 as that half paid. All right, and then we'll scroll down a little ways here, and we'll see that there's only 500 that is due now. And I can see all the notes that I just put in. So Tony Stark, on today's date, with that check number, paid $500. And because I sent a receipt, it's automatically sent over to the tenant. But you can also download a copy of that receipt if you needed to. Excuse me. Okay. From here, one of our newest features is our condition reports. This allows us to create reports. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. The smoke in Colorado is insane right now just because of all the fires. Yesterday, we actually hit a record. Colorado was the smokiest, worst pollution air in the entire world. So, yeah.
That's not a great record to have, but that's hope you guys are going to be okay over there.
Fortunately, it's not us. It's mostly Canada and everybody north of us, and it's all blowing in. So at least we're not burning up. So looking at condition reports, these are what I would think of as like move in, move out checklists. So when I go to create a report, it's going to walk me through the rental property address, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, all of that information. You can adjust that as needed. You can also add additional rooms, such as a garage, basement, whatever. You can add additional information. This is creating a template for you of that move in and move out checklist for this property. So if there's something that's not in here, let's say like in this first bathroom, there's, for the heck of it, there's no sink or no window screens or window coverings. We can remove those and we can add additional things that are in there. And we can do that for each and every room of the property. So in this case, the hallway, a couple of suggested items. If they're not there, we can take those out or we can add additional things. Once we click next, this is going to give us a preview of what that report looks like. And yes, I know that some of the lines look like they might be a little bit small, but once you send this as a digital report, it will allow the tenants to be able to write in or add photos of any information in here. So it is quite long, but at the very bottom, there is going to be, which I need to do it this way. Sorry. There's an opportunity to have it signed by the tenant. And then once it's signed, it'll be signed by you, the landlord. So I'm going to go ahead and save this report. And now I can download it or I can send it. I'm going to go ahead and send it. Now I can upload copies or send it as a digital report. We can choose if it's a move-in or periodic, like maybe midterm or mid-lease. If it's going to be like a 2-year lease, I want to check in about a year just to make sure everything's still working, and or a move-out. So we're going to do a move-in. They're moving in at the end of the month, so I'm going to just have it due when they move in, and then I'll click next. It's going to ask me who I want to send this to, so I'm sending it to the tenants. If I wanted to be the one that fills this out, I can send it to myself. But in this case, I'm going to send it to both the tenants and then just send the report. I can also edit that custom text if I wanted to. Perfect. So that report has been sent. Once it's started and
Quick
completed,
question,
you'll
Kevin.
see all the information.
Does that email come from an email that would be one of like our personal email, or is it from a TurboTenant email that they would reply to TurboTenant, or how does that work out?
Absolutely. So the email will be coming from a turbotenant.com email address. But typically when they, if they reply, the reply is going back to the landlord. So you will actually see those replies from the tenants. And then if on that odd chance that they don't actually hit reply and they just copy the email address, which is just from turbotenant.com, we will direct them back to contact you, the landlord. This is pretty much everything within a lease profile. Some things that we didn't touch on with once you have a tenant that is in their account is under maintenance. Maintenance is an opportunity for the tenants to be able to send requests to you of anything that they're seeing. So in this case, there is a light switch in the kitchen. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and we can see that it's not working under the description here. It's an electrical related issue. There's and all the little details. You can also see that currently we have it as in progress. We can change that status. So if we needed to dismiss it, resolve it, or leave it as open. We can also see that it basically the request came in. It was actually submitted by me, the landlord. I added a note that says note. Those notes can go right here. Because there is a little padlock here, it's only going to be seen by you. But if you wanted to, you could add a note and make it public. Scheduling repair. And by sending that over, now the tenants will be able to see that there's a repair that is being scheduled. If I needed to, I could also send this as a work order via email. So once I click send a work order, I'll put in an email address, put in any text here, and then I can send it as a work order and or preview it. It's a pretty simple email, but it does do the job. So it tells there's a maintenance request, who the work order is going to, rental property, what your note is, and what the issue is from the tenant. And then if there was a tenant associated with this one, there would actually be the tenant's contact information so that that maintenance person can reach out and connect with them. All right. One thing to also keep in mind with maintenance requests. Let's go back to maintenance. So we have rolled out a third-party solution where we're calling it Maintenance Plus with Lula. It's one of our partners. And fortunately, because I have a property at the Opry that is listed, it is covered by our service provider. And so Lula is scattered across the US, covering about 40% of the US or so right now. They're looking to add more areas over the next few months. But I can see that this property is eligible for this service. Essentially, what this is you having a 24/7 maintenance team that is available to answer any of your questions. So we can check eligibility. It is an additional service on top of the Maintenance Plus, billed at $149 per year to have access to the 24/7 support, where anytime a maintenance request comes in, you can manually send them over to Lula, or you can automatically send them to Lula. So that means if you're on vacation or sleeping in the middle of the night, you don't have to take those calls. The team at Lula will receive that request, and then they will start working with the tenant via via text message. They'll communicate back and forth, see if there's a way that they can troubleshoot it, doing some basic things like checking breakers, checking batteries, replacing light bulbs, those kind of simple things. And then if it's above and beyond that, and they're not able to troubleshoot it and resolve it via text, they will schedule a third-party vetted professional to come out. That professional will do an estimate. If that estimate is below a certain amount of money, say $300, they will automatically go ahead and get that work repaired. So if it's 200 or whatever, it's going to get repaired. If it's 350, you're going to receive an email with an estimate that you can then approve. The professionals are vetted through a pretty lengthy process through Lula, and you'll have access to be able to contact the team at Lula anytime that you would like, and same with your tenants. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a moment.
Sounds like didn't know you guys had this. This sounds like really exciting. So this is $150 a year. You can have as many properties, and they would take care of the maintenance for you. Is this nationwide?
As long as it's in one of the Lula service areas, like I said, about 40% of the US is available.
Okay.
So I know Denver is, but where I'm at in Fort Collins, we're not currently in their service area. So yeah, so my rentals in Denver could easily get it, or in Memphis or Nashville, or yeah, I'll show you where back here at the top, there's an option to check availability, and it'll actually scan through all the rental properties that you have, and we can see that only one of them at the moment is currently covered.
That's cool. That's a really neat service. And for $150, obviously, if your properties are in that area, that sounds like it's going to be really, really neat.
Absolutely. And then one of the nice things is there is some kind of affordability built into this. So out of last year, there were 24,000 completed requests through the Lula network, and they averaged about $217. So Lula is working with these professionals to negotiate the rates down so that you're not having to pay a full price as an individual consumer. You're basically being partnered with the rest of the folks in the area to help bring those rates down. So there is some cost assurance that you can see that for some of those repairs, appliances, 227 and so forth, you can kind of see the average costs. And they also do have some flat rate pricing. What's cool about their flat rate pricing is that if certain things are going out on you, say like a furnace replacement, there's a cost that is flat rated. That's going to include the trip charge. That's going to include the installation, removing a hallway of the old unit, and so forth. So you can kind of get an idea of what those rates could be before you ever get into any costly repairs and so forth. There's all kinds of things about appliances, water heaters, and in some areas, seasonal maintenance. the sprinkler one would have been really helpful for me this spring. Again, that's all under their flat rate pricing. We've got all of this listed in our Help Center articles, and so we can always provide information about that. Let's see. So that's kind of our maintenance plus. One other thing that I didn't really touch on yet is when you have your listings marketed, we have the ability to do showings now. So we can invite people to showings and or create availability. So first thing we would want to do is add some availability to a rental property. Let's say tomorrow, I want to be generous and I'm available between 11 and 2. And so I've got that availability created for the rental property. If there's any additional instructions, you can add those. And then you can invite somebody to a showing now by either copying the link. And then this is what they would see. So they got the rental property and they can pick a time, 15-minute increments, put in their information, and the scheduling is showed. Is set up. They'll get reminders and you'll get reminders that they are wanting to see the property at, in this case, 12 p.m. All of the times are in your time zone. So keep that in mind. I know I'm in Colorado Mountain Time, but they would actually be listed in your time zone. And then you'll see all the showings on the showings page. And you'll also see that in either a lead. So under the leads page, you'd see their showing listed here as well. A few other things that we have is the ability to see rent income, that money that's coming in, money that is going out. So anything that's been paid, what's being transferred to your account, and what is deposited, as well as things that are unpaid, like this $5,000. You can actually drill down and see which tenants and or leases they're associated with. It's like I got some issues with this tenant not paying. Now it's taking me right into their lease profile so I can see, oh, yep, it was the July rent. And if she didn't pay, I can always resend a reminder to her. With all of the rent charges, they're posted to the tenant's account 15 days before they're due. And then a week before they're due, we send them an email to remind them they've got to pay, they've got a charge that they can pay coming up. And then if they miss that payment, the first, third, and fifth day, so we have 3 reminders that immediately go out after the rent is due. So if it's due on the first, the second, and so forth, we'll start sending those reminders. You can have any late fee as we talked about, but that's just a gentle reminder to go back in and make that payment. We also have our expenses. So these are ways that you can track your own expenses manually within TurboTenant by creating an expense. We'll go to add expense in the upper right corner. You can select which property it's associated with, how much that expense was, the date that it was paid, and what kind of category it is. These categories will all fall onto the Schedule E for tax deductions. We'll put in that description. Light switch repair, any additional notes, and then I can upload any documents such as photos or PDFs of that receipt. For now, I'm going to go ahead and say not now. So there it is, the rental property address with the light switch repair for $1,200. At the end of the year, I can always export this as a spreadsheet so that I can have access for producing my own taxes or giving it to a professional to process them. We also do have a partnership with REI Hub, which can automate the taxes for you. So it's a professional tool that is like QuickBooks. It does kind of replace QuickBooks and or spreadsheets. The way I look at it is it's everything minus accounts receivable. So automatically tracking all of your expenses, all of that can be done within the REI Hub partnership that we have. The only thing, like I said, that you can't do is be able to pay people through the platform. but you can view a demo account and it'll walk you through everything there. It is based on the number of rental properties. So this is kind of an additional thing that you can add in. Based on my account, I've currently got 5 rentals. So it would start off at $20 a month, and then it would be $40 a month after the first 2 months. This can get a little bit pricey. So if you reach out to our team, we actually have some options that we might be able to offer maybe a bundled discount for premium and the REI hub. So that's another thing that you can do. I'll get you our contact information here in just a few moments. This is a really good tool because it'll show you cash flow, portfolio value estimates, and it'll automatically bring your transactions in from credit cards, from bank accounts, from your TurboTenant account. All of that information will be synced over, and then you can just categorize all of those charges and kind of book them into the right categories for you for the end of the year. One thing to keep in mind is that we basically have the TurboTenant support team, and then if there's something that we're not able to answer about REI Hub, we'll get you over to the REI Hub support team. They're located over in Virginia, and they're a great group of folks. Moving on from there, we do have some of our partners in our landlord toolbox. So we've got some partners that you can go through and view, things like LegalZoom, helping you set up some LLCs, or Easy Evict, one of our partners that helps us with evictions. Because we don't do any of the like legal paperwork, but our partners at Easy Evict can do that. And then down at the very bottom, some of my favorite tools, our rent estimate calculator, where it'll search for rentals around your area, and it'll help you to find additional rentals and what they're renting for, and whether you're above the market, below the market, or right in the middle, as well as our proration calculator. Because for me, I kind of forget which months have 30 or 31 days, and this just does all the math for me to let me know that prorated rent calculator. Additional like resources that we have available under education is our TurboTenant Academy. So we got some courses if you're interested in getting into student housing, learning more about tax and accounting, and or fair housing. Those are some of our paid courses. They're $29 each, or our free onboarding course with some of our teammates who put together a step-by-step guide of every single thing within the platform, way more in depth than what I'm doing right now. We also do have our podcast, ebooks, blogs that are available. Some of my favorites is The Key. That's a weekly newsletter that goes out with some tips and tricks and things, as well as our TurboTenant landlord laws. So on the landlord tenant laws page, it's just turbotenant.com/state, or it is viewable within your account. You basically just find the state that you're in, and then you'll see all kinds of resources that are available. Anything about renters' rights and tenants' responsibilities, to like resources, lease month-to-month lease agreements, and so forth, all within the page here. And these are updated each year. So we are currently going through and reviewing all of the legislation that just passed and like went into effect in July. And we're updating all of our lease agreements. We're updating all of our resources and everything from our legal team. Additionally, from here, we've got the ability to reach out to our support team under Need Help. You'll have access to our support team through chat, email, 7 days a week. You also have phone calls that you can do. As a premium landlord, you can call our team and reach out to us at any time. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Time is when our phone support hours are. And let's see. A couple of things that I want to point out. I'm going to see if I can grab the chat really quickly.
I went ahead and put
everybody.
I went ahead and put the link inside there for everybody. It goes to the same page that Justin has up right now, or sorry, Kevin has up right now. It goes to the same page. But yeah, so you can, and what's great is TurboTenant is free, but there's obviously lots and lots and lots of premium stuff that you would, if you want to join and do the premium, you're going to be able to get 20%, or sorry, $20 off because you signed up. So anyways, Kevin, I'll let
Mhm.
you go ahead and continue sharing about all the good things there that are there.
No, that's perfect. That's a great segue to talk about that $20 off. Using the promo code that's listed right here, MPI20. Those are all caps. And then the other thing that you can do is book a one-on-one call with myself or my teammate Jenny. You'll give us a call, and what we'll do is walk you through individual answering your questions, digging really deep and dive into everything of the platform. Or a lot of times after a webinar like this, folks will just have a couple of questions that maybe got missed, and we'll be happy to answer those and yeah, provide a lot of support and resources, as well as more information about the platform. And we were talking about the premium plan. So looking at premium, here we go. So we also have our free plan where you can have unlimited number of rental properties. They get syndicated out just like everything else. On premium, it's the same thing, but we expedite the syndication process for you in about half the time. The other thing that premium does is it lowers those screening report fees. So rather than the tenant paying $55, they would be paying $45 for their screening report. And we also do some income verification and allow for custom questions on the application and pre-screener. I'd mentioned those state-specific lease agreements. They are $59 each, or they're included in premium. We also have a forms pack of about 32 additional forms right now. Those forms are all included in the platform, unless you want to purchase them separately for $199. And then those with rent payments, there's a couple of benefits here. So expedited rent payouts. When you're receiving a rent payment from the tenant, it can take 5 to 7 business days on the free plan for those payments to arrive in your checking account. If you upgrade to premium, those expedited payouts are in 2 to 4 business days. It also waives an ACH convenience fee. So on the free plan, if a tenant makes a payment from their checking account, it is $2 every time they make a payment. Otherwise, it's completely free on a premium. And then as we talked about, you can upgrade and have unlimited number of checking accounts that are connected to receive those rent payments. Now, the tenants do also have the ability to pay through credit card or debit card. Those credit card and debit card transactions are closer to, it's going to be 3.49% for that convenience fee. And that would be the same whether you're on the free plan or premium. And then, like I said, that phone support that is available. So that's kind of a rough overview of everything that you receive from the landlord side of things within TurboTenant. I think there's a few questions in the chat.
So let me, I want to obviously open up to everybody. You can ask your
Mhm.
questions. Definitely put them in the chat if you guys have questions. And you guys have definitely planned out so many scenarios and have obviously connections to other companies, which are terrific, like the Easy Evictions. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, easy evict.
The Easy Evict. I mean, that's one thing I'm always concerned about. If I'm not having a property manager that's overseeing the property, like, evictions take a lot of work, but you have that taken care of. You also have the maintenance. Now, I guess a harder question, or we'll see if it's hard. Is there anything that we would be missing from having a actual property manager that's, lives in the city, that can drive to the place and all that sort of stuff? Is there anything that's missing here? Because it sounds like you guys have most of everything.
You are correct. And the one thing that I hear the most, and we are actually working on trying to find partners to provide assistance, but that's the what I'll call boots on the ground. So if you're not in the actual city or not able to, if you're on vacation or out of town, being able to go over to the property to do a showing or to let a maintenance person in if the tenant is not able to, those are things that we don't currently have available when you don't have a property manager. But like I said, yeah, we are definitely looking at rolling out some partners. We're kind of negotiating some options right now to have boots on the ground that are from vetted professionals that are safe and secure, because we want to make sure that they can let people in and make sure that they're doing the work, and then they can lock the property back up or show the property to prospective tenants.
Yeah, and an easy workaround is if you find a handyman that you work with and has done well. I would just keep his phone number, because handyman, that's one thing. It's like they go visit the house, and you could say, hey, how about I work out a fee for you to go and open the door, or go show the house. And you can easily find somebody that we'd be able to do. Handyman would probably be one of the best options outside of hiring your own property manager.
You are absolutely correct.
Cool. So what questions you guys have? I'm looking through the chats. I don't see any yet. We have all of us, our comments. Definitely, if you're going to sign up, use that link and the promo code so you can get the $20 off. But yeah, what questions do you guys have? And feel free to unmute your mic if you want to actually, be a little more friendly. While if you're thinking about ask a question, I'll go ahead and ask a question. Like on the accounting, show us the reports a little bit. Like if we want to give it to our accountants and they can do the end of the year reports, can you show us how those reports work out?
Absolutely. Let me get into the demo account really quickly. So this is the REI Hub, which is that additional subscription. Like I said, you can always reach out to us, and we've got some options to partner REI Hub and the premium subscription together to bring the price down. But under reports, and then under tax, we've got the tax review option, where this will actually walk through everything from how much information was recorded, how many transactions that might need still be categorized from this one in case is that Visa rewards card, how much income you received and from which properties, any depreciation, any mileage that you tracked, as well as any contributions and withdrawals from your different accounts. And then you can view a summary of all of this. And then if everything looked good, one little thing up here at the top, there's an export packet. So this will actually create a zip file or a compressed file of all of the information that's here with every single transaction itemized and all the line items and everything as a spreadsheet. They are Excel spreadsheets, so they'll be able to be utilized by the tax preparer or yourself. That's one of the benefits of the integration that we have with REI Hub. I know kind of an internal thing, but we are actually growing our partnership with REI Hub, so we're looking at more integrations and things in the near future. And yes,
I guess
Eva, who
asked a
is
question.
one of my colleagues that
that
just
leads me to the
mentioned.
question, like, what's the roadmap? Is there anything coming? You mentioned a few other things, but like on the roadmap of things you guys are developing. And Justin asked a question about snow removal, and Ava says you guys are working on that as well. And one quick note was the $20 off is going to expire on Friday at midnight, so definitely want to sign up soon so you can take advantage of that. But yeah, so is there anything else on the roadmap coming for TurboTenant?
I would looking forward, things that I'm aware of, because I'm not aware of everything. Some more integration on the dashboard with payments and having more payment information on the dashboard, because that's for me, that's one of those things that I'm really interested in seeing right away. The other things that we're looking at is speaking of product roadmap, we are looking at multi-user login. That is something that is not currently available, but our team is actively working on how to implement that within each TurboTenant account. And then to be able to give user permissions and all of that information, as well as two-factor authentication to provide a little extra security to each of our landlord accounts. So that's something that is new and up and coming. With the yard maintenance and snow removal, this one is a little bit difficult to completely answer. It's dependent upon the providers in the service areas. So what I would do is go over to my support center. Inside the support.turbotenant.com, which is our help center, I would search for Lula our Maintenance Plus with Lula if you're really interested in that. And let me go down here a ways. I don't miss it. Oh, maybe I did. Right here. So there is a phone number for the team at Lula. This is the landlord phone number. So this is the one that you would be contacting, and they would know that you're a landlord. And then I would give them very specifically like the address and see if yard maintenance or snow removal is available. I know like in Denver, snow removal is not available, but in Park City is one area that they do have some snow removal and yard maintenance that's available. So, like I said, that one is a little bit more dependent. They also do have some cleaning, like move in or move out cleaning, and that's kind of scattered across the U.S. and where it's available.
Well, this is great, guys. Ava and Kevin, thank you so much for sharing this. And I'll definitely be sending out the replay to everybody, also people who were registering that weren't able to make it. Is there anything else before we sign off?
One of the last things is if you do want that personalized demo, you can email success@turbotenant.com. Obviously mention this webinar and we can get you that 20%. Make sure you have that $20 off. Sorry, that should be $20 off of premium. And yeah, we look forward to talking to you and answering any questions and helping you grow your rental business and find some ways to kind of automate things behind the scenes. So thank you guys for taking your time to watch this.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Kevin and Ava and TurboTenant. You guys are a great service. So I'm really excited to be able to share with everybody. But everybody, thank you so much for being on the call. Respect your time. We're going to go ahead and log off now. But you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. See you guys.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.